I've had a lot of fights with my mom over the years. I'll be 18 soon, and for me it's college time. I've been getting into fights with her about college since I was 14, mainly her telling me I wasn't going and me telling her I was. It was never a financial thing, but she felt I didn't have the personality to go to college. We keep having fights about this to this day. Apparently, a little while ago I got into one of my dream unis. I'd been dreaming about this uni for years and I got in on a scholarship. Not full ride, but I had a lot of tuition off, and with the amount I was awarded, I could have paid for college myself. Housing was free. She hid it from me. I've lost access to my email for a while, so I was relying on using her account to check for responses. But for a while she wouldn't let me check and she just said I didn't get any responses yet, and I believed her. The other day she went to the washroom, I got into her phone and I saw the email. I yelled more than I ever had. I swore at her for the first time in my life and I told her I'd pay for college myself. She's the worst thing that ever happened to me, and once I was gone I would never be speaking to her again. My mom isn't talking to me anymore. My dad is travelling. My sister is in college. I can't speak to anyone, but apparently my mother spoke to her therapist and believes I inflicted trauma, creating words on her purely out of teenage angst. I don't think it was angst. I genuinely can't express the anger I feel right now, but I do want to know if I gave my mom trauma. Am I the idiot for telling my mom she's the worst thing that ever happened to me and inflicting trauma on her that can hurt her for generations? Edit, the number I attached to my email was lost and I forgot the password. I wanted to call around and ask, but my mother said it would be easier to check through hers, as my email is set to be forwarded to hers. Not the idiot. Jesus, I'm a mom myself. She purposefully hid an acceptance letter and lied when she was asked about it. She quite literally could have diminished your future success had you not found out about her weird need to keep it from you. Also, I have large doubts that she told the whole truth about that situation in order to garner some sympathy. In no way is it teenage angst. It was quite reasonable to be upset, frustrated, mad, etc. From the fact she blatantly lied about your dream college. Frankly, if this is truly your reason to cut off ties with your mother, then she can only blame herself for her deceit. She's 100% lying about what her therapist said. Your mom just made up the therapist's response. Someone who would do what she did to you will have no problem lying to manipulate you even further. She weaponized therapeutic terms. OP, your anger is righteous. Someone who is supposed to love and support you actively attempted to stop you from living the life you want. As someone whose mom tried to stop me from going to college because I was too immature, my mental health was atrocious due to living in active trauma, aka her house, you should tell your mother what I told mine. F you, I'm going to college. Mothers who hide critical emails then whine to their therapists about being justifiably yelled at will never ever apologize. Just let go of those thoughts. Honey, what your mom did was messed up. Believe me, she has not suffered trauma-inflicting words because of you getting rightfully angry. I promise that. I don't know how she was expecting you to react, but you were understandably angry. She needs to realize that you're very nearly an adult and you make your own decisions. My dude, please just call the college and explain to them exactly what's up. Tell them your mom is abusive and hides your emails. Just tell them. They will offer you options without your mom involved. Prepare. Set up your own email, it's free, and tell it to the college when calling. Access it from public Wi-Fi, McDonald's or similar, maybe internet cafe. Just tell them what's happening. She doesn't want you to succeed, and that's bad parenting. Once you move out, I'd suggest therapy if you can afford it or want to, but it'll help a lot. Good luck and congratulations. I, 35 female, have been married to my husband Nate, 38, for the last 3 years, and I've been helping him raise my stepchildren, Anna, pre-tween female, and Cole, tween male. Anna and Cole's mom died 5 years ago. Nate and I met several months after his wife's death, and admittedly our relationship, once it turned romantic, moved fast. However, nothing romantic happened until a couple of months after the first anniversary of his wife's passing. I met his kids early, and Anna and I immediately bonded. Cole was never as enthusiastic about me being in their lives. He's a good kid, but said he didn't want a new mom and wouldn't like me to try to be his mom. So I worked on being something else to him, something he was okay with, and yes, we had the help of a therapist. So my relationship with Cole and Anna is very different. Anna and I have a mother-daughter bond. She calls me mom. She also knows about her mom and we have photos up at home, but she tells people I'm her mom and calls Nate and me her parents. She asked a few times about adoption and came out and asked to be adopted at Christmas. With Cole, there is no parent-child bond. I consider him my kid as much as I do Anna, and I love him. I would call him my son in a heartbeat if he were willing, but he doesn't see me that way and doesn't want to see me that way. When Cole heard Anna ask me to adopt her, he asked, "What about Mom?" Anna said she could have 2 moms and they both could. Still, she wanted me to be her mommy on paper, like her best friend's dad, who became her daddy on paper last year. We went to a therapist to talk things through. After some time, the therapist said I should adopt Anna if we all wanted that, but told us not to adopt Cole, which I'd already said I wouldn't because he wasn't okay with it. The therapist aimed that more at Nate, who was concerned about not doing the adoption for Nate as well. She told us that any chance of him feeling like he missed out and was rejected would be nowhere near as bad as the rage he would feel if we took the choice away from him and did it against his wishes. Nate's parents were not happy when Anna announced she was going to be adopted. They asked about Cole and he said he didn't want to be adopted. Nate's parents took us aside and said I couldn't adopt one and not the other. If something happened to Nate, what if Cole was placed with his maternal grandparents or his aunt and Anna stayed with me? They'd be separated. They also said Cole didn't deserve to be the odd one out. They said Cole isn't old enough to reject what would be good for him and that we're wrong for allowing him to reject me as his second mom. I pointed out that 3 therapists have all said we should respect Cole's feelings and wishes. They said therapists don't live with us every day and don't know the family the way they do. They said I can't call myself a good mom if I adopt one stepchild and not the other. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. You respected his wishes and are doing everything possible in a difficult situation. If he changes his mind later, he can be adopted, but forcing him into adoption would be a terrible idea. You're going about it in the best way possible. Hopefully, Cole will appreciate how you've handled this when he's old enough. The issue of what happens if Cole's father falls under a bus to ensure he's not separated from his sister seems fixable by designating you as his guardian. If that's okay with him, he's getting old enough to have a say. Talk to a lawyer once you all know what you want and discuss options. Judges and social workers don't usually take children away from the home they know because of the death of one parent. OP, there might be other solutions, like hubby writing a will with the suggestion that the children stay with you, as long as they don't wish otherwise, and you're trying to become a legal guardian for Cole if this happens. Hope not and wish you all a long and happy life. You're doing this right. Let Cole decide at his own pace. I, female 22, live with my parents. I'm the youngest sibling and all my other siblings moved out a while ago, so it's just me and my parents. I buy all my own food, do my fair share of housework and pay rent. With the amount I'm paying my parents, I could rent a room in a shared apartment or house. It's definitely not a token amount. In October, I went on a 3-day trip with some friends. When I came home, my bed had food stains and crumbs in it, and lots of my belongings were moved around or on the floor. My parents explained that they had my nephew, age 4, sleep in my room while I was gone. I explained that I don't mind my nieces or nephews sleeping in my bed when I'm not home, but that I don't appreciate coming home to my room being a mess and my bed being dirty. I tried to be as calm as possible, but I was irritated. My parents told me to lighten up, that I was overreacting, and that it was just my baby nephew. Last month, I went on a weekend trip for my co-worker's bachelorette party. Once again, I came home to my room being messy. I even found not 1 but 2 very chewed-up pacifiers in my bed and more old food. I was very annoyed and I told my parents I was not okay with this and wished they'd at least wash my bed sheets after the kids had been in my bed. They once again say I'm overreacting. They call me a control freak and a neat freak. They even get my sisters involved and say I'm being a baby about my nibblings using my bed when I'm not home. No one in my family is on my side and they think I'm being childish. This escalated when my sister, 31, called me to discuss the situation. She lectured me and said it's my parents' house and they can use the space however they like. She said I was acting like a spoiled brat and that if I were her child, she'd kick me out of the house. I fired back at her and asked what on earth I was paying rent for if not for my space. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. You pay rent, so it's your space whether you're home or not. If they want to use your bed, they should ask you first. You can say yes if they clean up and wash the bedding, or you can say no. You could even tell them you'll put a lock on your door. The solution could be as simple as promising to wash your sheets afterward and an apology. I'd be petty and deduct a cleaning deposit and the day rate of a hotel from your monthly bill. When they ask where the rest is, quote them back. Lighten up, stop being such control freaks. Or next time you visit your sibling's house, sneak into their room, eat a Nature Valley bar under their sheets and spill some apple juice. The best thing you can do is move out. I know it's easier said than done, but you should consider it if your parents will not step up. So my ex-wife Mary and I have been together for 5 years and married for 2. Our relationship was mostly fine and we always had only one major issue. She cheated on me when we were together for 3 years, and after a lot of therapy I decided to forgive her and for her to work harder for our relationship. It wasn't an easy decision at all, but I love her more than myself and I decided to forgive her. Then, since things were going great and she changed from therapy, I decided to marry her and she accepted. It was the best day of my life, even though my friends told me that I was insane to marry her because of her cheating and her past. My friends didn't show up for my wedding because they were extremely skeptical, but I didn't care because I was so happy. Her parents too were happy that we worked things out. The whole wedding and honeymoon were just amazing, and it was like I was living in one of those fairy tales. Then, after a year of marriage, she became pregnant, and I was super happy to start a family with her. The whole pregnancy went smoothly. But then, when our son was born, something was wrong because he didn't look like me at all and had just some small things of my wife, but really nothing like me. I started thinking about it and some things were off, like her announcement of a pregnancy. When she told me that she was 4 weeks pregnant, I wasn't home with her for 2 weeks because I was in another country for the sign of a very big client. When I asked my wife to be there when she was about to give birth, she hesitated but told me yes. So after thinking again and again about all the wrong things, I did something that I don't regret. I took my son for a DNA test while my wife was at work, and I was at home with my son. After a week, the results came back and my worst nightmare became reality because he wasn't my son. The same day, I immediately contacted my lawyer. After explaining the situation to him, he started preparing the divorce papers. After a month, I served them to my ex-wife and told her that I knew that our son wasn't mine, so to don't make things complicated and to just sign the papers. The drama started and she began to cry, begging me not to divorce her, telling me that she would become better, that we could put our son up for adoption and that she'd made a mistake. All the classic excuses of a cheater, but I put my feet down and told her that I couldn't change ideas after I'd already forgiven her once. After 2 hours of this pathetic scene, she finally signed the papers and packed her stuff. She called her dad, crying and telling him to pick her up, but she didn't tell him what had happened. While waiting for him, she was crying and begging me to forgive her so she would improve, but I just ignored her. When her dad arrived, he asked what the heck was going on and I showed him the DNA test results. He started yelling at her and was extremely angry about what she did, and finally they drove away to her parents' house. Fortunately, in our country, divorces under 5 years are quick, so in a few months we were divorced, and she got nothing from me, not even alimony or any type of it. The thing is, in those days and even now, I never cried, shouted or did any of these things, but I just feel broken and empty inside, like this thing changed something in me. Obviously, my friends were happy when they knew about this and started telling me the classic, "I told you so." Thinking about it now, they were right, but I was blindly in love with her, and I didn't understand the whole mess. Months passed since the divorce, and I still feel like an empty and broken human, but I don't regret doing the DNA test because my worries were right. Now, the issue is that I met some of our mutual friends a few days ago. We talked a bit about our life, changes, and obviously about the whole mess. They told me that my ex-wife was depressed and sad and that the affair partner had disappeared, leaving her to stay at one of their houses. They asked me if I regretted the divorce, but I told them absolutely not because I forgive once, but not twice and not a big thing like baby trapping. They called me heartless and cold for not thinking of her even once and the baby is a toddler now because according to them, she still cries for me and still punishes herself for what she did because she really regrets her actions. So, am I the idiot? Not the idiot at all. She cheated, kept the resulting pregnancy, and tried to pass the baby off as yours. That's not one mistake in the heat of the moment, that's a series of calculated betrayals, and she was willing to lie and use you for the rest of her life. There's no coming back from something like that. Oh no, the consequences of my actions really exist. Oh no. Yes, she cries for OP because her affair partner gave her the heave-ho and wisely moved on with his life. Her affair partner knows she's a cheater who will pass the kid off to her husband that isn't his. Only an idiot would want to stick with her. Karma is a fabulous witch sometimes. I, 26 female, have known my best friend, 26 female, since we were toddlers. We've grown up together and gone through all of it together. The context, I guess, is that I'm quite slender. I take pride in my weight and my health, and I know she does too, but she's always struggled with her weight. We used to go to the gym together, but it never really stuck. The other night, I had my boyfriend and best friend over for dinner. It was an awesome night, but she kept making comments, and she does all the time, has continually over the years, like, "Oh, well, of course you can because you're skinny. Well, yeah, that's never a thin person problem." It got awkward, and this was only her second time meeting my boyfriend. We've only been dating for 4 months. I'd had enough and snapped, saying, "Look, it's not my fault I'm skinny, okay?" The rest of this evening was, as you can imagine, awkward, and now she's not spoken to me in days when we usually talk every day without fail. The reason why I think I'm the idiot is that she went out on a date with a guy recently after talking to him for weeks. She was so excited, but when she showed up at the restaurant, this nice fancy place she'd wanted to go for a while, he said, "You're a lot bigger than your photos suggested." I knew how upset she was, and it made me so mad to think a guy could have the audacity to say that to her. So, yeah, am I the idiot? Not the idiot. She's taking out her insecurities on you. Her size is not your responsibility, and I say that as a big girl. You can't control the fact that you have a fast metabolism. She's insecure about herself taking it out on you. Your friend isn't really being a good friend by saying these skinny comments to you. Imagine if you made fat comments to her. Everyone's the idiot here. I take pride in my weight, my health. I would comment that it's a bit dumb to take pride in how little gravity it takes to hold you to the surface of the planet. I hope you can see that. I would also mention that you will experience a lot of privilege in your life for being skinny, and she will experience a lot of discrimination, assumption, and harassment for her weight. You seem very empathetic and emotionally mature, so I'm sure you'll be able to remain a supportive friend to her through this. Best of luck.